Welcome to Shar Stories, stories that renew your mind. This story is about how I learned that prayer works. It was in the fall of 1952, and there was a sadness in the air. I was four, and my mom, father, and my 2-year-old sister, we were all living in my grandmother's house. This was my mother's house. And Grandma, who was the patriarch of our huge extended family, had been in bed for a week. And I was very close to my grandmother. Not only did I look like her, but we shared special times together. And my grandmother, my mother, and I, you could say we all have the same face. All right. So we would eat buttermilk and cornbread together. She would put hot cornbread in a glass of cold buttermilk and would spoon it out to me, and I would just enjoy it. I don't know if I could get with that right now. And she'd also give me a few sips of her mostly cream coffee. When I was growing up, children didn't drink coffee. I mean, unless it had mostly milk in it, but that was just something that was strictly for adults. But my grandmother had injured her leg while she and my mother were preparing the rental house across the street. And when my grandmother falls, she couldn't get up and stand on her legs. And she was taken to the hospital. After a few days, the doctors told her that she would never walk again. My grandmother told one of the doctors, "Jesus will heal me." The doctor retorted, "That's what's wrong with you people. Always thinking Jesus is going to help you." And I guess he was coming from a place where they would rather pray on something than take the advice of the doctors. I'm not sure. But immediately my grandmother turned to my uncle and said, "Well, I can't be helped here. Take me home." When she returned home, she called me to her bedside. She said, "Sharon, let's pray together." I said, "Okay, Grandma." And I don't remember the words of the prayer, but they were heard by the Almighty. Within 2 weeks, my grandmother was up and walking, and she walked to the end of her days. At that time, in 1952, my grandmother was 58. She was born in 1994, and she passed in 1979. But she walked the rest of her life. My grandmother was a living example of a principle of faith. My grandmother made a declaration that she would walk again. She believed that God would heal her, and he did. She fought off all doubt and fear that would have made the healing impossible. And she taught a small child that the Almighty has precious promises available to us when we align with what he says about us. A seed was planted in me. Her healing is part of my testimony that shows how a long, winding road led me straight to the Father and his Torah. Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Deuteronomy 6:6 and 7 says, "And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up." Thank you. Remember to share and subscribe. Shalom.